Wheat Bix in a pipe. Previously on Basement Discourse, we talked about things that run too long, and then the episode ran too long. Fucking true.
Very. Yep.
I'm Jace, the sex appeal of the show, the gamer. Then there's Brady, the pervert. Otaku as well, like whatever. And then there's the other pervert. But he just stays in the basement.
That's true.
Playing tabletop games.
Yeah. That's all I do between the show. I just roll more dice.
Yeah.
Got a 20.
Can leave the house today.
Yeah. Roll for leave basement. 1.
I guess I'm staying in. Pants come off again.
Starts pulling up the floorboards. He's like, I need another basement.
Basement within the basement. Baseception?
Baseception.
Yeah, baseception works.
I'd go with that.
So I think to start, like Sony had some big loser conference thing. I don't know. I didn't watch it. Basically, they didn't announce Bloodborne for PC, so I don't give a shit. However, there was one thing that piqued my interest a little bit, and that would be the old Final Fantasy 16. Now, I'm a big Final Fantasy whore. Brady's a big Final Fantasy whore, and Justin, just like women, he's never touched one.
Touche.
So Brady showed us the trailer before we got started here. I guess, Justin, first and foremost, what were your thoughts seeing the gameplay trailer for 16?
Yeah, look, it looks good. I'm sure that like all of the characters make sense more to you guys, or at least like as you guys were saying, like some of the big things that are in it.
Yeah, the summons, yeah.
Are more interesting to you guys. It just looks like a cool sort of cool sort of a game, but I don't know. It looks real busy, and for me, that's a lot. Like seeing numbers that take over like the entire screen to the point where you can't even see what you're actually fighting because there's so many numbers popping up the whole time. It's like, okay, I'm gonna wait and see.
Yeah, so that's one thing that does kind of get me as well, because Final Fantasy didn't used to do that.
And was Final Fantasy, was that a turn-based combat
originally?
game?
Yeah,
Originally, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't get that until now. Like it looks like it's
9.
not.
I think 9 was the last where it was true turn-based. Then it became sort of semi-turn-based.
They started messing it up with like.
10 might have still been.
10 was still turn-based. Is it 10-2 was a little bit less so, and then they've played around since then basically.
12 got far less turn-based, but still sort of. 15's not turn-based at all. It's more like action RPG. So like think of it more like a third-person Skyrim type thing.
Like Devil May Cry.
Yeah. Is Devil May Cry really an RPG?
I don't know. I haven't played any of those either.
It is, but it's a linear one. Like it's not. Yep. You're not open to choice in Devil May Cry, really. It's sort of like go through the levels.
Yeah, but like I guess at the end of the day, most RPGs are like that too. Like it really depends on the RPG you're playing, but
yeah, it does depend.
It's not necessarily all about choice.
Yeah, it's the illusion of choice. That's all it is. It's the same as D&D. You guys think you're making up the decisions. You got another thing coming, boys.
I chose to rail the misses. Thank you very much.
This is true. I wasn't expecting that one. It's happened more than once.
No one expected that.
The other thing with Final Fantasy games, the numbers start to get fucking crazy. So
I saw that even in the friggin' trailer. It was like 360,000. It's like, why do you have to scale it up like fucking yen? That's the thing though. Like, why scale it up like yen? Like, just keep it like a regular fucking number. Like go from like 0 to like, I don't know, 1,000 and just be happy. Just be like, that's cool. I'm good with that. That's fine. I don't know,
man. Have you been to our supermarket soon? We'll be able to calculate that fast fucking quickly. Like shit's getting out of control down there, man.
Just buy some petrol, man. Like you'll understand.
Get some fuel and then buy a fucking, what do you call a bunch of lettuce? What is it actually called?
A head of lettuce?
Yeah. Head of lettuce. Yeah, buy a head of lettuce and some fuel
I'm the chef now.
Yeah.
Jesus.
One head of lettuce and fuel later can calculate boss attacks on Final Fantasy.
But like Yeah, I do sort of agree because like there was a thing with earlier Final Fantasies where it sort of topped out at 9,999. That was the most your attacks could do. Bosses on occasion could go over, but they were only the really fucked up bosses.
Yeah.
But typically your health could never go over that. Your attacks could never go over that. 99999, that's it.
I think even 10 still did that.
Yeah,
I remember throwing attacks at the big bad and it was just that was the top.
I'm still only like a third of the way into 12 because every time I pick it up, I'm like, oh, something better.
Distractions.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't really speak too much for 12, but
that's fair.
So there are some things that sort of remind me in that trailer of like that very Capcom-esque RPG in the way that it likes to throw up flashy numbers in your face.
I was gonna say it looked like there were moments that looked like a fighter game.
Yeah,
like 100% like a fighter. Yeah,
definitely like some sort of fighter style game that Capcom would have created. I don't know. I always just get this Capcom vibe from seeing shit like that. I think it looks good. It definitely looks more gory. Like Final Fantasy has its violence, but it's very rarely containing gore. Whereas you see arms getting cut off in that shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like your shonen anime usually with Square Enix. It's like a dude gets punched through a mountain and he's got like a drop of blood. Like that's pretty much been most Final Fantasies.
Yeah, I think like the most graphic thing is at the start of 8 in the intro cinematic where Squall gets his face cut.
Yeah.
But even then,
spoiler.
It's in the intro cinematic.
It's really old game, dude.
How dare you spoil a game from what, 99? 2000? But yeah, in the intro, he gets cut with a sword. Yeah. And you see the slice come down, and then you see blood spray across the ground, and then it cuts back up to like
his face just sliding off.
I fucking wish. But yeah, so this has like arms getting cut off and shit, which is that's pretty cool in my opinion. I think it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty keen. I mean, I'll play the shit out of it once I get my hands on a goddamn PS5. Can we go into that topic?
There's one thing I want to address first, and this is because Justin hasn't seen what I'm talking about, but you've seen it. People saying that it looks like Elden Ring.
It's because heaps of people got into fantasy games with Elden Ring this year.
Like, I get it.
And
like,
they think
the medieval
themes,
the medieval themes,
stretch.
Big beasts.
Yeah, that's probably literally it. Big beasts is where it's got them.
It's a fantasy thing. Must be Elden Ring. You're like, what?
the moment you see any combat, if you're like, that's Elden Ring, then you have never played Elden Ring or you've smoked way too much crack. Like that's your two options.
Still doing better than me and Brady can own a PS5.
Yeah.
Damn, that's where crack gets you.
Yeah. Crack on a PS5.
Damn.
Yeah. So
let's get to that part.
Crack?
Yes. Where do I buy the crack?
Where is the crack?
Also, where is the PS5? Which does sort of come to where I was going.
Yeah.
Exclusivity. How shit is it?
I feel but I also feel hypocritical because I, from time to time, deal with it. So, like, I don't want to support it. So, my big weeb example is going to be Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I've followed that through several consoles, whereas I won't do that for basically anything else. And that shits me out the wall. I hate that they do that, but Nintendo just do that. That's what they do. They drop a new console every fucking 3 years.
I feel like Nintendo are the ones that have done it for the longest period of time, right? Like
they've had literally, yes.
They've had a brand and they've stuck with it for the longest time ever. Like,
they have, but I will say they also keep typically they're the lower entry price. So it doesn't feel as rough when they do it too every couple of years.
Yeah.
Whereas in this case, I actually find in this case with Final Fantasy, that's fucking rude because it's hard to get a PS5 in the first place.
Yeah.
And to have the price rate, this is quite rude now. This is not just making money. This is being a cunt.
So
just to tell you how I really feel.
Exclusivity sort of. So when it sort of comes to like what Nintendo does, a lot of what Nintendo's doing though is like first party, like they are the developers.
It's not like they're just
make us
throwing a bunch of money at someone and being like, now you can just stay with us.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
They've created them. Yeah.
I have less of an issue with that. So like, for example, if Microsoft make a game, I would not be upset if Microsoft only released it for PC and Xbox.
What about if Sony brought out Spider-Man only for PlayStation though?
They did.
Well, there you go.
They did.
That's a Sony-owned item though, so that's the same argument you've got.
In that same extent, I
don't care. Cool with it. Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, didn't Activision actually make that?
I don't know.
It's just Sony.
I think it's one of those things like the bloody Marvel movies where it's like because Activision made a bunch of them. This is it's a different company that did the Marvel Spider-Man, the new one. Is that what you're talking
about? The latest one, I think. Yeah, 2016 was that when it came out?
Yeah.
My eyes. Light mode.
That's me when I try to leave the cave. I'm like, roll a 20. I'm like, all right, maybe I will go out and see the light. I'm like, no, it burns. Back in.
Every fucking time.
Justin is Gollum.
Okay, Insomniac Games did it.
Insomniac, that's the one.
Yeah, right.
And now
Crash Bandicoot, who's also owned by PlayStation, I'm pretty sure.
Aren't they Activision? No, Naughty Dog.
No. Yeah. Okay, so Insomniac are owned by PlayStation Studios. So with that in regard, like with that in consideration, if they kept that Sony exclusive, that would be okay.
Man, I mean, you're only one step away from them really just buying a company out though. Like at that point, like so if they just bought the creators of Final Fantasy's company, then you'd be okay with it. Yeah,
to some degree, but I still have problems with like. So I can see the upside from a developer's perspective because, like to give you guys a bit of background on platforms, most people use like Windows 10 or 11 for their computers. PlayStation, at least 4, I don't know about 5, I don't know too much, is based on FreeBSD, which is a derivative, or it's similar to Linux and Unix, which is wildly fucking different from Windows. And Xbox is on a hacked up version of Windows 10.
Yeah, of course. Makes sense.
So with that in consideration, working on all 3 of those platforms is a lot more work. Yeah. And it's usually going to cost you a lot more money. So with indie games especially, I don't expect them to release on every platform. No. If they do, love you guys. Got a lot of love for indie devs.
Evil Dead.
Fucking A. Just buy a physical copy though.
Okay, but we did kind of, not deliberately, but we did miss a little moment there. So we're talking about not by being platform exclusive, including like brand exclusive, but this is console exclusive. They're not just sticking to Sony. PS4s are still very much the norm around a lot of PlayStation players, and they're going 5 only, which I feel like I don't know if they need to make the game. Because I don't feel like, and maybe you can help me, the jump from 4 to 5 has not been that big.
Firstly, you're wrong.
Okay.
But like, it's not huge. It's not fucking night and day. But the like performance leap is big enough that you've gone from like not being able to maintain 60 frames in most games, even at 1080p, to being able to handle at least 30 frames in 4K in every title.
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah,
that's a pretty big leap when it comes to consoles. Now, to play devil's advocate a little bit here, one of the biggest fucking annoyances as a PC gamer is people who will not let go of their old fucking console. Because what happens is, a good example is Unreal Engine 3, which is a graphics engine that was used a lot for like Mass Effect, thousands of games during that Xbox 360 era. But because the Xbox 360 era lasted for like 8 years or something, it was a long fucking time. People never moved to Unreal Engine 4 until way later in the game. So as a PC gamer, I've got a graphics card that costs more than your fucking console. And I'm sitting here using old as piss graphics engines because they've had to use that so it can work on old consoles.
I feel you, but I feel like this is a slightly different case, given that there's a shortage of the damn console. It's not like people just aren't willing.
Yeah,
getting the damn thing isn't easy.
So I'm not sure if it's entirely like unintentional either. Like I don't know if they're like actually out or whether this is all like a marketing ploy to create like.
They actually are. There's a silicon shortage. It's happening with computer parts and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, how far does it go? Like down that fucking rabbit hole of like, we just want your money and we're just going to put out some fake news for it. You know what I mean?
No, it's been happening for years, man. The graphics card I have in my computer, I had to pay.
Stop putting it in titties and start putting it in like the good shit.
Silicon and silicone.
It was a joke. Fuck.
You're a joke. Get off my damn podcast.
I'm the least tech person, and I sat there being so angry with you over that. God damn it.
Calm down, boys. Jesus.
No, I'm passionate. But
so serious on this topic right now.
And I'm passionate about titties.
Of course he is. Fucking weird boy.
He won't watch him unless there's a pair of double D's in there.
Minimum.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But yeah, so the console shortage has made it a bit weird. I do think that the transition, like at least either hold off your titles till we know we're going to have a steady stream of consoles, or fucking release from multiple platforms. Like,
that's my question to you, actually. How hard would it be to strip down a game like Final Fantasy to work on a 4 as well as 5? If they had to pull it back, would it just be like, a graphics degrade, run it through a program, or is it a whole deal?
It would be like, it depends what they've done to the game, but typically speaking, it would be an absolutely monumental overhaul, because what you've got to remember is that they've got this hardware set and they're like, okay, well, we've got this gear to work with. We've got to work within these bounds. They've got a dev kit that it runs on. So they're working to make sure everything works within that. So a good example would be Crysis and Crysis 2. I'm not sure if you ever played either of those two games.
Yeah.
So Crysis 1 is on a big open fucking island, tons of aliens, you just shoot cunts. Originally only came out on PC, and it brought every motherfucker's PC to the ground.
Yeah, it was the thing you compared your gaming PC to back then. Yep. It was like, how high a setting can you play Crysis on? Yeah. Oh, the highest? Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, people would buy computers based on doesn't run Crysis.
Yeah.
But when they did a console release, which was 2, it was Xbox 360, I believe.
Yeah.
And there was no way to run that engine on a console. So they moved the entire game to a city. So then they could close off sections. So it only had to render tiny
little
amounts.
Pieces. Makes sense.
So in that extent, if they were working within the same bounds of this new fancy graphics engine, they might have to cut down what might be an open world like Final Fantasy 15, just chop it into tiny little blocks.
Chop it into like Tony Hawk's American Wasteland and just have fucking loading screens between
areas. Yeah, absolutely.
I actually wonder if that's kind of what happened there with 15, because of that sudden change to linear and locking you into smaller locations. Maybe they run out of room to be able to let you be free reign.
I don't know.
Because it was such a drastic change.
It could be rushed development too.
I think we've talked about that one in the past. So.
Yeah,
but this is the first time I have this information, so I'm just curious.
Yeah. But moving to another thought on console exclusivity, when it actually hurts the game. Now, I've been playing a little ditty of a game called Quantum Break. Have you guys even heard of it?
Yes.
Nope.
Yes, I have.
So
it is a continuation of different game, yeah, or
so it's based in the Alan Wake world.
Yeah.
So that's Remedy, the people who did Max Payne 1 and 2.
Yeah.
After they parted ways with Rockstar and all that and went off to do their own thing, they signed on with Microsoft as a publisher to do Quantum Break. Quantum Break is like a third-person shooter, super weird, has a full cast of real actors and parts of the
old
game.
boy from X-Men who does the freeze thing, yeah? One of the OG X-Men's.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I've watched the OG
Iceman
movies recently.
Yeah, the Iceman from like the first or second X-Men. I think he's your lead in this game. It's just the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, like they used him as the model. Is that what you're getting at?
No. So wait. There is more to this.
I've said that dude has been in heaps too, but he's got a twin, so sometimes you're not sure which one's which.
Oh.
So in this game, each act is separated by an episode of a TV show that they have filmed exclusively for the game.
That's
and based
ridiculous.
on your choice between acts, it plays a different episode, and it's like a 20-minute episode. And
God damn.
It was this really cool, really unique idea. And I was like, fuck yes, I want this. And Microsoft are like, Xbox only. And I was like,
see, I don't understand that with
weird
with Microsoft because that doesn't make sense, right? Like, I'm not crazy. With my limited knowledge, they own both PC and Xbox.
That's really a dumb doesn't thing make to a lot do. Of sense. Unless they're two different teams that own that run the Xbox
greed.
Stuff. You know,
that's pure greed.
Yeah. That's shitty maneuvers.
There are separate teams.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's still under the one Microsoft gaming branch.
And this is the opposite worry that you've got with the Final Fantasy thing. Like, you don't have to worry about it not being able to be played on PCs at this point. If you can play it on the Xbox, you're going to be able to do it on the PC.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it.
That's not the issue.
It only came out on PC like 2, maybe 3 years later.
What the shit?
Which means all the hype had fucking died for the game. No one knew shit about it. And so, and when they first released it on PC, they only did it on the like Microsoft Store, which is like a weird fucking app thing through your computer that I never fucking use because all the games are fucking weird and they're buggy and you can't fucking troubleshoot properly. So I just never got it until recently when I finally got it on Steam. And I'm like I'm playing it now and I'm like, this is a fucking rock solid game. I have no idea why it wasn't a huge critical success. Maybe because it was a fucking exclusive for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I don't make no sense.
That's fucking dodge,
Straight
man.
Up. Straight up.
Like you explaining the PS4, PS5 problem to me, I'm like, look, I can see why, as much as I loathe it, they're doing that with Final Fantasy, but that makes no fucking sense. Like, why would you do
progress? Like, you know, like the OG Xbox One and whatever, we're talking 2013 when they came out. So, like, it is time to move on with the new consoles, even if we don't have them. They're just like, well, too bad if you don't have one. We're going to move on anyway. Like,
I guess as far as I'm aware, Final Fantasy 16 comes out in 2023.
Yeah, it's next year.
So there should at least be stock by then. So that should hopefully resolve that. But it isn't the only PS5 exclusive.
No, it's not. Godfall was a big one people were looking forward to. It doesn't look amazing to me. It looks fine. But like that was one
Demon Souls remake.
Yeah.
Now, Demon Souls is an interesting one because like that's the old Dark Souls origin game. But there's no PS4 version. Yeah. There's a PS3 version, which is the original. And I think it can play on PS4, but it runs like shit. And then there's the remaster, which is PS5 only. And it's like,
I guess they're just trying to fill some titles in, make it more appealing.
Well, yeah. And like, I sort of understand that with first party stuff. But again, that's From Software. They're a third party. I get that you are the publisher of it and you can choose what you want to fucking do. But I think, if anything, a lot of this really hinders. And like, this is like Bloodborne, which you know that I've been wanting to play because of my whole recent addiction to heroin.
To hating yourself.
Exactly, yeah. And there's like a whole there's a Twitter account called Is Bloodborne on PC?
Yeah,
that checks current news to see there are thousands and thousands of people that follow that account. And that is such a niche thing, to follow an account on a lesser used social media platform just to find out if this game's on fucking PC yet. And nothing has happened with it. Like,
yeah,
it sounds like that's a big market that they could actually fill, and they're not, because console exclusive. And
yeah, I mean, like, it goes further than that as well. Like, what about the things that have been made to be cross-platform? Like, they've already been sorted, but they're just not available due to fucking licensing. Like, we talked about the PS Now, PS Plus issue in Australia. Like, the Sonic games are available on PS4, just not in Australia.
Yeah, well,
that shits me up the wall beyond words. Like, I can't even pay money to have something that's been developed and is usable on my console. Like, they won't even take my money.
Like, I genuinely don't understand why they don't offer at least a download service for that stuff. Like, most of it's old games. Pay for, like, make it so you've got to have fucking PS Plus extra large fucking Magnum or whatever. and you got to pay $20 on top of it to play your favorite, I don't know, weird.
That's probably what they're building up to. Like, they're just waiting for everyone to get so mad about it.
I mean, I've talked before about thinking Sony's geeing up for something.
Yeah.
Well, they're adding new PS Plus tiers, apparently. I don't know what
that's probably fucking it. That's probably exactly it. They're just holding back content so they can make it look exclusive soon.
I got an email about that, and it just said nothing's happening to my tier. So I think there's lower tiers being added, and that's all.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing anything helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sounds about right for PlayStation.
Yeah. No, I'm just a sucker. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, my first console was a PlayStation, and I've just fucking iPhoned it the whole way.
Man, I have no nostalgic, whatever you word to call it. What's that word?
Rose-tinted glasses?
Bias?
Yeah, that's the one. Bias. Or dedication or anything like that. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I've just jumped from everything. I had Mega Drive, Nintendo 64, Sony, Xbox. Like, I don't care. I just grab whatever feels right. And for me, like, the Xbox control felt right. I would have happily went a gaming PC again if I didn't have a wife and child.
Sell wife and child by PC, trust me.
Oh shit. Yeah, you can do that.
Would you get enough for them for a fucking gaming PC? Have you seen how much they are now?
They're pretty expensive, I've got to say. Yeah.
Like I was going to say at one point, I spent nearly $1,600 on my graphics card alone.
Damn, son. Plus, I'd be too tempted to go like Liam Neeson on their ass and be like, try and get them back afterwards.
I will leave my basement. I will find you and I will throw dice at you.
If it's the fucking pointy ones, like
the
D4s.
fucking D4, yeah.
Oh, shit. They're in a world of pain. Down on one of those with no fucking shoes on, you feel a world of hurt.
Instead of a fucking nail through the knee with the jumper cables on it, you just put a D4 under his foot and then just press down on his knee.
And you say,
I can make this stop,
man. Oh, that would be a great little side vid.
It's gonna happen.
D4 assassinations.
Absolutely, that's gonna happen Friday night. So we're going to be filming again soon for D&Ds. I think that's going to be great.
Yeah.
While we got this little side thing going on. Yeah. Another session.
And this should tie up with this should
our special
be close.
Guest. This will be close to tying up as we speak.
Yeah. And it will also be just before we start giving more new episodes, the stuff that we haven't even recorded yet.
That's it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because this will come out the same week as the last of what we have in the bank.
We're so far into the future. We don't even know how far into the future we even are.
Final Fantasy 17 will be out by the time this episode drops.
Oh, God.
Well, I think we're done for the night, boys.
I think we are.
That's it.
So thanks to everyone that stopped by, and like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell me how good my shirt is, and Tell Justin that he's not bald enough.
This is true.
Ronnie is waifu.
It is 3 degrees in here, so yeah.
Just get more heaters.
I'm sitting on one. I nearly melted my jacket.